So in the last 2 weeks, we introduced this topic. And the idea about the topic is to help us to know how to understand Igbo proverbs, because the proverbs are an important aspect of Igbo world view. It's an important aspect of Igbo life. It's an important aspect of Igbo linguistic heritage. It's also an important aspect of Igbo cultural heritage. Ilu, ịtụ ilu, iji ilu ekwu okwu bụ otu n'ime ihe dị mkpa ndị Igbo ji ebi ndụ ha. Otu n'ime ihe dị mkpa ndị Igbo ji ekwu okwu. Thank you, Pana. Thank you for the gift. Ilu bụ otu akụkụ omenala ndị Igbo ejighị egwu egwuregwu. Akụkụ asụsụ ndị Igbo ejighị egwu egwuregwu. Ya nwa mere Igbo ji sị na ilu bụ mmanụ ndị Igbo ji eri okwu. Can imagine that the Igbo people even use proverbs to explain proverbs. That's as important as the proverbs are. Sometimes we find proverbs that we use to explain another proverb, and at the end of the day, to tell you that you need to be wise enough, intelligent enough, smart enough to understand the proverbs. We don't need to speak to you in plain languages. Yes, Adeze doing it. That is the importance of proverbs in Igbo. You see why I made a decision for us to deviate a little bit and from the topic we were handling and talk about Igbo proverbs. The literacy aspect of it is that ọ bụrụ na ị bụ onye na-amụ Igbo, if you are a person learning Igbo, having the interest in learning Igbo, either as nwa afọ Igbo, either as an Igbo born or as our sisters and brothers from other, communities, but with the interest of learning Igbo, if you learn all the grammatical aspects of the language without learning the cultural aspect, you have not really started. Now, proverbs are both cultural and linguistic. Ilu dabara na asụsụ, dabakwa na omenala. Ilu nọ n'etiti asụsụ na omenala. Ilu na-emetụ aka asụsụ, na-emetụkwa aka omenala. So you cannot do without Ilu. You cannot do without the proverbs in Igbo language. So we introduce this topic to strike that balance in the head of every learner in this class. CJ, you're welcome. So that balance is now getting us into the deep understanding of how important proverbs are to the Igbo language and culture. Good. Now, in the last week, we looked at a video which I posted on our TikTok account, and I think that video also made way in our YouTube account. Okay. Magwandi Igbo, yes, even Igbo way of life. I think it's just Igbo way of life. Yeah. So, and we learned from that video where a student was, talking about Igbo way of life through the proverbs. We saw a few proverbs that the students, gave, and we tried to understand it. Now, the idea, the concept of understanding Ilu, like we have introduced it, is just to give us a methodological way of looking at the proverbs, okay? Methodical way, rather. Now, today, we are going to go a step further in looking at the proverbs that come from us. And what I intend to achieve, number one, to see how much of Ilu that we know, to see how much of ilu that could come from us. And when we have it, we're going to be looking at how the proverb is said and how it is written. So, and it's going to be a little bit hectic for me because we are using a virtual platform. I'm going to be looking at what you wrote and to see it. Then I will write out what you wrote the way you wrote it. So I'll be doing two things. I'll be teaching the writing of the ilu as well as the understanding of it. Peace, dalu o no. So that is how we'll flow today. Today, we will be hearing ourselves the proverbs that we know. Ihe anyị gaji ịmụta bụ ilu ndị sitere n'onwe anyị. Ilu ahụ anyị depụta ya ebe a, anyị ele nghọta nọ n'ime ya, lee mpụtara ya. Nke a bụ iji nyere onwe anyị aka icheta ma ọ bụ ịmụta ilu site n'onwe anyị, site na etiti anyị. If you do not know how to say a proverb, you will be learning from other people. If you do not know how to write the proverb that you know about, you now will learn how that proverb is written. Two things. Now we begin. Aga m achọ ịhụ ndị maara ilu n'Igbo. Dere m otu ilu ị maara. I'm going to be a little bit quick about it because I know when you start writing, if I miss what you wrote, please call my attention back to it. Because by the time I write what you wrote and I might be back in the camera, I will not see what another person is writing and I might miss it in the process. Please call my attention back if I missed your own ilu. Now we have started. Ịmara ilu Igbo ọbụla, dere m ya ebe a. Ịmara ilu, mgbade ya. Oge erugo. Ndewonu ndị na-abata na YouTube ugbu a. Ihe niile ndede na YouTube na ọ na-adịzi ka esi dee ya. Ọ dị mma mmadụ ịga ụlọ akwụkwọ, ịga school. All right, usekwu foods. Nne m ole nke na-ata apụkwana ị na-akụ aka n'ọnụ ụzọ. Meghere m ụzọ ka m bata. Meghere m ụzọ. Hapụ m aka. Ọ na-amụọla gị mgbe a gụrụ egwu a, ya na ịkaala. Ee, Nwada Sally, ị nụrụ egwu ahụ? Ọ na-amụọla gị mgbe a gụrụ egwu ahụ, ịkaala. All right. Okay, kedu ndị maara Igbo, ilu Igbo, orugo n'omume? Odoziakụ Chinwe sị, aka aja aja na-ebute ọnụ mmanụ mmanụ. Maazị Nnamdi Ani, Maazị Iwu Dike, Iwu Dimkpa. Ndewo. Maazị ahụgo m gị o. Okay, ahụgo m ka m gụpụta ndị m na-ahụ. Aka aja aja na-ebute ọnụ mmanụ mmanụ. Ndị Mbitoli si na ọnụ mmanụ mmanụ. Odoziakụ Chinonye Nwokedi, agadi nwanyị anaghị aka nka n'egwu ọ maara agba. Ndị a bụ ndị ọkpọka Nkuzi Igbo. Ị hụrụ ndị depụtara ilu abụọ ndị a, ọkpọka ndị Nkuzi Igbo m ji eme ọnụ. Ya dịrị unu na mma, Chinenye and Chinwe. O daalụkwanụ. Aga m ede ilu abụọ ndị Oziọma, ọkụkọ chi ụmụ anaghị ehi n'elu. Chai, nke atọ m special. All right. Aka aja aja. I'm going to write aja aja. Na-ebute ọnụ mmanụ mmanụ. Nke abụọ wee sị, agadi nwanyị anaghị aka nka na-egwu ọma agba. Maazị Nnamdi, nwata chefuo aha nna ya, aka akpara ya, isi eruo ya ala. Okay, ngwa ka anyị jidedu nke anyị nụrụ. Okay, ka anyị jide ya nọ. Nke mbụ, agadi nwanyị anaghị aka nka na-egwu ọma agba. Chai. Na-egwu ọma agba. Nke atọ anyị hụrụ ebe ahụ, ọkụkọ chi ụmụ anaghị ehi n'elu. Then nke anọ ebe ahụ, anyị ga-akọwa ya sekwufos. Nke anọ, ngwa ozolo anyị nwetakwala nke ise. Nke anọ wee bụrụ nwata chefuo aha nna ya, aka kpara ya isi eruo ya ala. So let us hold this 5. Nwata, hold on. Maazị Ani cherenu o nwata chefuo aha nna ya. All right, nke ise and the last one. I will not take another one until I. All right, Daisy. All our videos are on YouTube after the class. You can go to OMENKA app video. Okay, you will see all our videos. Nke ise, asịrị gbaka ute, ọ rahụ n'ala. You see, amakwabna unu ma ilu ha otu a. Nke m na-ekwu ilu na-esi n'elu na-esi n'ala na-ada. Okay, aga m ewere ndị ọzọ unu dere, karịchasị ndị nọ na YouTube, ma ịkọwacha ndị a. Okay, ndewonu. So for those that do not understand Igbo primarily, what I will not do is to begin to write out the translation. I will try to explain each proverb in English so that you can write so that you can understand it, and then we'll take it up from there. Chomande wo. All right. Daalụ nụ mmadụ niile ndị depụtarala ilu ebe a. Nke mbụ wee sị, aka aja aja na-ebute ọnụ mmanụ mmanụ. I could as well write aja aja as 2 separate words, okay? But I chose to write it this way. Whichever way is okay. Nke abụọ wee sị, agadi nwanyị anaghị aka nka na-egwu ọma agba. Nke atọ, ọkụkọ chi ụmụ anaghị ehi n'elu. Nke anọ, nwata chefuo aha nna ya, aka akpara ya, isi eruo ya ala. Nke ise, asịrị gbaka ute, ọ rahụ n'ala. I just want to say, first of all, that everybody that submitted a proverb got the writing well. So it was well written. So korono ndị niile debatara ilu aka. Ha detere ya. Enweghị onye m degharịrị nke ya. I didn't get to rewrite or correct anybody in the way they wrote it. And at least that gives me joy, because the people that really wrote out the proverbs are among the people that come to this class every week. Outside of the fact that some of them, or I think most of them, are teachers, Igbo teachers, and I'm even happier because they are teachers, because this class started primarily to attend to some of the issues we are seeing among Igbo teachers in messing up Igbo language. Ndị a bụ ndị njem ọnụ, ndị a debatara ilu a, ha niile unu nwaka. Right. Aka aja aja na-ebute ọnụ mmanụ mmanụ means sandy hand makes oily mouth. Is there any other way to say it? Umunna, is there any other way to explain it? Sandy hand makes oily mouth. I think that's the only way to explain the proverb in English, right? Yeah, Choma, I know about Monday Nile. We're here every Monday. It is going to be 6 p.m. Nigerian time and 11 p.m. Eastern time. So I don't know which time you are in. 6 p.m. Nigerian time and 11 p.m. Eastern time. Right. So follow us and you will always get, also follow us on YouTube and go to YouTube and watch other videos, as well as download the OMENKA app and then go to our bio. Please join the Telegram group. It would help to keep you abreast. All right. So the first one, sandy hand makes oily mouth. Okay. Now, what this means is, okay, let me not go to what it means, first of all. Nke abụọ, agadi nwaanyị anaghị aka nka na-egwu ọma agba. This has an English equivalent. So the English say you don't teach a grandmother to suck egg. And that's another way English says it. That's another way English says it. So this is an ILU, a proverb that has English equivalent. So you don't teach your grandmother how to suck egg because the grandmother already knows that. I think there's another English proverb that suggests that. Nke atọ ya, ọkụkọ chi ụmụ anaghị ehi n'elu. The transliteration of this is a fowl that has children does not sleep on top of a tree. A fowl with children does not sleep on top of a tree. And we'll talk about the meaning. Nke anọ, nwata chefu aha nna ya, aka akpara ya, isi eruo ya ala. If a person forgets his father's name, the head will get to the ground. The captors will get to him. Those that are running after him, those that are looking for his life will get to him, and the head will get to the ground. This fifth one, which is one beautiful one, asịrịgbaka ọrahụ n'ala. If gossip breaks her mat, it will sleep on the floor. When gossip breaks her mat, tears her mat with the gossip, it will sleep on the floor. All right. Now, let's look at this. Ka anyị leghara ile anya, nke mbụ, ihe anyị na-akụzi ebe a, ka esi aghọta ilu. What are the indices that help us to understand the proverbs? And I say the individual words of a proverb, most of the times, the words do not indicate the meaning of the proverb. Some other times they do, when you can put two and two together. Okay? Right. For this proverb, aka jaja, I mean, the literal way is sandy hand. This is a proverb that encapsulates Igbo belief on hard work. This proverb is about the concept of hard work for the Igbo people. We are a people that values hard work. And hard work in the traditional way, ihe Igbo na-ahụta dịka ịrụsi ọrụ ike n'oge gboo tupu ndị ọcha abịa mebiere anyị obodo anyị. For 400 years, they destroyed our land. They changed our culture. They destroyed our values. They imposed upon us a different way of life that we are still suffering from till today. Tupu nke ahụ eme, ndị Igbo bụ ndị hụrụ ịrụsi ọrụ ike n'anya. Ịrụsi ọrụ ike bụ nke na-eleba anya n'ihe gbasara ịrụ ọrụ ugbo. Ịrụ ọrụ ugbo na ime ihe ndị ọzọ ndị Igbo na-eme n'oge ochie. When you hear about the Igbo way of life, you talk about blacksmithing, goldsmithing, you talk about hunting, and then most importantly, farming. As far back as the 12th century BC, there were excavations of Igbo artifacts that dated as far back as the 12th century, suggesting bronze artifacts, copper artifacts that the Igbo people made for themselves. If you go to Leja, if you go to Ibuku, if you go to Nsukka, you will find all of these artifacts that were excavated in the 20th and 21st centuries, even when the colonial people were still in the land. There are several white men, tungsten, and a lot of them who got involved in excavating our, treasuries that were buried in the ground. The ancestors used them, suggesting early civilization. There are beautiful, beautiful, artifacts and crafts that were made with bronze, copper, even gold by the Igbo people. All of these that were made by people soiling their hands in the ground, putting their hands in the ground, excavating mineral resources, making use of them for their own life and livelihood as at the time they lived. Unu chetara na ilu ndị anyị na-ekwu okwu ya abụghị ilu anyị nwa atụrụ. Ndị tụrụ ilu bụ ndị mgbe ochie. Ndị mgbe ochie ahụ ha na-arụ ọrụ niile ha na-arụ na-emetụta ala. So when you dip your hand into the ground to get mercy, it brings food to the table. Food to the table, oily hand, ọnụ mmanụ suggests food to the table. And not just anyhow food, not pizza, not hot dog, not burger. Okay? These are made up, fabricated, processed food that points to early death. Ndị Igbo na-eri nri na-edozi ahụ, nri sitere n'ala, nri ga-eme tupu iwepụta ya, ị ga-egbu ikpere n'ala, ị ga-ehulata ala, ị ga-eji ọgụ kọọ ugbo, ị ga-ewepụta ihe nọ n'ala, ji kpụọ ihe bara uru, o wee weta ego, o wee weta nri na elu tebụl anyị. Aka aja aja, sandy hand. Your hand have to be dirty for your mouth to be oily. Your hand have to be dirty for your mouth to be oily. Aka gị ga-emetụ aja ka mmanụ wee mesana ya n'ọnụ gị. That is the concept of this proverb. Now, there's a repetition. There's a repetitive sequence. Aja aja na ọnụ mmanụ. That is, yes, that is a way the Igbo brings what we call emphasis by repeating something, by repeating a concept. Aja aja, which is adverbial, has to do with sandy hand. Ọnụ mmanụ has to do with oily mouth. Okay? Right. If you have any further question on this particular proverb, let me know. But I think I have explained it the way I can in English. Right. Agadi nwaanyị anaghị aka nka na-egwu ọnụ ma agba. I think this is self-explanatory. Agadi nwaanyị, egwu ahụ ọ maara agba kamgbe gboo, n'agbanyeghị na ukwu na-enyezi ya nsogbu, n'agbanyeghị na ụkwụ ya echichazi ike n'ala, ọ ka ga-ama egwu ahụ ọ ma agba. Ọ ka ga-ama egwu ahụ agba, mana otu o si etu isi bụ ukwu ya na ụkwụ ya mgbe ọ dị ntakịrị nwere ike ọ bụghị ka ọ ga-esi emenwu ya ugbu ọ dị agadi, but they will still dance that same dance. What does this mean? Over the course of a person's life, the things you have learned and have mastered, they become part of you. Ihe ndị ị mụrụ, ihe ndị ị mụtara dịka ị na-eto dịka mmadụ, ha ga-awụ ihe ị nweghị ike echefu na ndụ. Ya nwa mere Igbo na-eji achọ ka mgbe a na-azụlite nwa, ka nwa ha a na-azụlite ka o nwee agwa ọma. The Igbo people believe in building a life in the best positive form of it, and as early as possible, so that when you keep growing up, you will not depart from that way, just like we also hear in the Bible. Teach a child the way they should go. When they grow old, they will not depart from it. Ndị Igbo ha hụrụ ịzụlite nwa n'ụzọ dị mma, n'ụzọ eziokwu, n'ụzọ ọkpụkpara agwa dị mma. Ha hụrụ ya n'anya. Ya nwa mere a na-eji etinye uchu, na-ewere ikikere niile nke onye nne na onye nna na-etinye n'ịzụlite nwa. If you are alive today, you are a parent. Maybe you are living in one country or the other. You do not value the way our ancestors used to raise their own children, the way your own grandfather was raised, the way your own father was raised, and maybe if you also grew in the land, the way you were raised. If you no longer value it because of where you are living your life and raising your children, it doesn't matter what, you are depreciating the cultural value of the Igbo people, and you will not like it. Or those children you are raising, without focusing on the Igbo value of raising children, you will not be happy what they may become. Ndị Igbo hụrụ n'anya ịzụlite ụmụazị ka ha nwee ọkpụkpara agwa ọma. N'ihi gịnị? Mgbe ha ga-eto, agwa ọma ndị ahụ agaghị ahapụ ha. If a child grew up learning the Igbo way of life, learning how to use the proverbs, learning how to say the truth, even when they are old, they will not depart from that way of life. Agadi nwanyị anaghị aka nka na-egwu ọma agba. If you learn the craft, if you learn the skill when you are younger, even when you are old, you will not forget the skill. You will not forget the craft. You will become a master. Our forefathers, they were not recorded to have so many instances of dementia or Alzheimer, all of these things that older people are suffering today because of change of lifestyle. Our forefathers used to be old and still be very, very attentive. They were Theophilus. Used to be old and very sane in the head, in the brains. But it has changed today. That is the meaning of this proverb. Agadi nwanyị anaghị aka nka na-egwu ọma agba. All right, ana m anabata mmadụ niile, everyone that is joining now, those that have joined while I was speaking. I encourage us to keep tapping on the screen so that the algorithm of this class will improve. I'm not seeing much activities on TikTok today. I'm seeing the people on YouTube. You are improving your activities. TikTok, please. Even if it's your first time and you think this class is a very useful thing for you as an Igbo person or a person who wants to learn Igbo, please join us in improving this class. You share the live, you tap on the screen. If you have a gift, please do not hold your hands tight. Yes, Daisy, and I expected more people to be in the class today because today is a holiday in the United States, right? Good. So more people should see us and possibly join the class, because what we are doing is to ensure that we are not just the only people that will come here every week to learn. There is your sister, there's your brother, there's your friend who needs this class. Okay? Chidera Kamsiyo Chukwukedo. Ndewa ahụla m gị o, daalụ. So there is that your acquaintance who needs this class. And please, let us be generous enough, kind enough to bring them in. The other thing is that, you know, we are using a virtual platform for our class. If we are not doing well in making the class lively, the algorithm will not catch up the class. If this thing is a good thing we're doing, please help in improving it. That's all we're asking you. The other thing is, if you have not joined our Telegram group, go to our bio. Please tap on the link there and join. This way, we are going to be able to continue our conversations after the class. I will be able to answer your questions relating to your individual journey towards learning Igbo. And as well, we are going to be able to craft ideas on how to change our collective attitude towards our language. This is very important. All right. So Lily, Dalo. So Lily, what's your name? What's your Igbo name? All right. Kaigano n'ihu. Nke atọ, ọkụkọ ọchị ụmụ anaghị ehi n'elu. Ọkụkọ ọchị ụmụ anaghị ehi n'elu. Gịnị ka ọ pụtara? If you look at the proverb, the subject of the proverb is ọkụkọ. Ọkụkọ is fowl. A fowl that has children does not sleep on the tree. A fowl, mostly a hen, the female fowl, the mother fowl that has children does not sleep on top of a tree. The concept here is, if you are growing up in Igbo land, or you grew up in Igbo land, you will know that some fowls can sleep on top of a tree. Some fowls leave their household and sleep on top of a tree. If you are not from Igbo land, I want to let you know that fowls are part of the pets we have in Igbo community. Another pet we usually have is dog, and then cats. Then there are other people a few other people who have some other kind of pets in the house. Some have rabbits. We do not necessarily have goats, lamb, sheep as pets. No, we rear them for business. We rear them for two things: for eating and for business, for selling. So, but fowls, we rear them as pets. We also rear them for eating in the Christmas time and for selling. So cats have turned to witches and wizards. Look, I'm in trouble. All right. Anyway, cats can also be witches and wizards. All right. So in the issue of fowls, some fowls go to sleep on top of the tree when their behaviors begin to change. Mostly the male, fowls. Sometimes the female as well. They will just go and be having their chit chats on top of the tree. But the fowl that has babies, They do not sleep on the tree. First of all, ọkụkọ na-ehi n'elu anaghị eyi akwa n'elu. The fowl that sleeps on top of the tree does not lay egg on the tree. They also know that even if they're sleeping on top of the tree, when it is a time to lay egg, they have to find their way to the ground and to a safe place to lay their eggs, right? Site n'oge ahụ ọkụkọ bịara yie akwa n'ala ka ọ ga-ama na mgbe ụmụ ya ga-apụta na o nwere iwu megidere na ọkụkọ ahụ ga-ahapụ ụmụ ya ga-ehiwe n'elu. Yes, Usekufu, they say that cats can be witches and wizards as well. All right. So, ọkụkọ maara na enwere iwu megidere na ọ ga-aga ịrahụ n'elu mgbe o ji ụmụ. The fowl cannot go to sleep on top of the tree. What does this mean? This means that when you are a person with a lot of responsibilities in your hand, especially family, there are things you cannot do. If you have a spouse and have a children, yes, you cannot run and fly like the wind. When you are running, you look back. That's what the Igbo people say. Because you have people who you have the responsibility to protect. What does this mean? This is one proverb in Igbo that also suggests the family value that the Igbo people have. It is also a proverb that touches on showing a person what responsibility they have in life. Exactly. You do not put your life at risk when you have people looking unto you, people that believe in you, people depending on you. When you have a responsibility over other people's lives, you do not be rascally in life. You do not be careless. You need to do everything within your power to carry your family and your community along. That's what the proverb is suggesting. Thank you. Success. All right. Again, those that are joining us now, you're welcome. Ndị na-eso ya ugbu a, ndewono. Anyị na-anabata unu niile. Please, let's improve our activities on TikTok. I'm seeing just a few people reacting. I'm seeing a few people tapping the likes. I'm seeing a few people giving gifts, a few people responding or creating communications on TikTok. Please let us improve the algorithm of the class. All right. Ndi YouTube, unagbadawogo as well. Let's up our game, please. All right. Nke anọ, nwata chefuo aha nna ya, aka akpara ya, isi eruo ya ala. This is a proverb that says, thank you, Paris Farm. This is a proverb that is suggesting about the concept of family name. Now, I'm not sure that it is normal in any way for a person to forget their family name. It is not okay. But forgetting here that this proverb is suggesting is not about forgetfulness, but is about devaluing the family name. If you wear a cloth and go to the mirror and see yourself that you are dressed up well in a way that possibly you are putting on white, you are putting on something that will be easily dented. When you are walking, you'll be careful. You are walking, you'll be careful. Why are you careful? Because you are carrying something that can be easily dented and you don't want it to be dented. you're wearing something that can easily attract dents. Thank you, YFTN. And you don't want it to happen. Thank you. But when you looked at your mirror and saw that you wore white, and as soon as you left the mirror, you'll be walking like bakra bakra. Like you don't care. You are going to be dented. What that means is that you did not value. You forgot to value what you are putting on, the apparel you are putting on. There's no value to what you're wearing. That means it's similar to giving pears to swine. When you carry a good name, which is much more important, costlier than ruby, whatever ruby means. When you wear a good name, which Igbo people value, you cannot behave anyhow. What the family represents, yes. Every family should have a value. In Igbo land, families have values. What does your family value? If you forget that value, that means you have walked out of, in a church way saying it, you've walked out of the family's covenant. This is a fact. Whenever a person forgets the value of their family, especially when that value is a positive one, you might be walking on a dangerous land or ground. And that is not good for that person. That's what the proverb is suggesting. Nwata chefu aha nna ya, aka akpara ya, isi eruo ya ala. Nwata anaghị echefu aha nna ya n'ọnọdụ aha ọ na-aza. Ọ ga-ara ahụ ịjụ nwata sị gịnị bụ aha gị? Ya echeta aha agụrụ ya ma chefu aha nna ya. But nwata nwere ike ichefu aha nna ya site n'ichefu ihe ezinụlọ ya na-egosipụta, site n'ichefu ihe ezinụlọ ya kwenyere, site n'ichefu ezigbote agba sitere n'ezinụlọ ya na aha ezinụlọ ya na-aza. Ndị Igbo bụ otu n'ime ndị nwere ezigbote mmasị n'ime ka ezinụlọ nwee aha ọma. Ya mere Igbo ji sị aha ọma ka mma karịa ego. Aha dị mma. A good name is a family virtue. It is a personal virtue. It is a communal virtue. And that virtue is something you are not supposed to lose. Aha ka ego. Ndewo. The super. Dalo. The superstar. Nonso Emeka, Emma Ede, I welcome you all. Ana m anabata unu. Ndewo nu. Ama m na nke a bụ mbụ unu na-esonyere anyị na ihe ọmụmụ anyị. Ndewo nu. Ebe a ka anyị na-akụzi ihe gbasara asụsụ na omenala Igbo. You all are welcome. It can also relate to last week's proverbs on nwata erughị eru jụọ ihe mere nna ya. Ihe mere nna ya will buy him. Thank you. Success. Paris firm. Thank you. God bless you. Thank you. So, last week as well, we touched on nwata asking a question when they are not really prepared for what may come. So, every nwata, which is all of us, every nwata should look at what the family stands for and know when to do what and know when to ask what. Okereke Caroline, Dalo, I welcome you all. Right. Nke ise ebe ahụ wee sị, asịrị gbaka ute ọrahụ n'ala. Now, in this proverb, asịrị is being personified. Asịrị means gossip in English, right? And N'Igbo, the concept of gossip is there, right? And what the Igbo people look at the asịrị is in the negative, which of course that's what it is. When you begin to talk about other people, right? By the time you continue doing it, some of the times those things come back to you. Asịrị is personified in this proverb as giving a human behavior of having the capacity or capability of tearing apart, breaking her mat. Mat is a traditional laying bed, right? And mat has a potential of being torn apart. And in this proverb is being seen as something that can tear apart the mat. And when a person tears their mat, what will happen? They will sleep on the floor. Now let's look at it. The extent to which the proverb applies is about first family. Mgbe ị ga-akọgide asịrị tisaa ezinụlọ gị, gịnị ga-eme? Ọsọ ata, ọsọ ata, ọsọ agba. When you continue to talk, if the asịrị claims to be James Bond, he will not he will not have any proper resting place. Yes. When asịrị will be doing ta everywhere, na-agba ụkwụ tim, o megide ya gbaka ute, ọ rahụ n'ala. When your mouth cannot be at a place and you continue to butcher people's lives, especially from within your family, when you break your family apart, you will no longer have a family to be proud to call your own. Asịrị. This is talking about how the Igbo people dislike gossip. This is a proverb that suggests that the Igbo people look at gossip as a vice, as a thing that is in the negative, as a thing that can break relationships, as a thing that can destroy lives. And then also, the proverb is trying to let you understand that whatever that city is doing has a bending curve. Okay? It will come back to you. It is coming out of you, but it will definitely come back to you. Because mgbe ahụ ị ga-agbaka ute, ọ gịnwa ka ọ ga-agbasa, gịnwa ga-arahụ n'ala. This is a concept. It is an ideology. It is a worldview of the Igbo people. Asịrị gbaka ute, ọ rahụ n'ala. Ndewonu. Anyị akọwala ilu ise nke sitere n'ọnụ unu niile. Anyị nwere ilu abụọ nke atụrụ na YouTube nke anyị na-emetụbeghị aka. Mana ana m achọ iji ohere anabata ụmụafọ Igbo niile ndị na-esonye anyị. Obinna, I think I didn't see your other name. Eze Chinonso, Kena, ana m anabata unu niile. Ndị niile na-abata mgbe m na-ekwu okwu, daalụnụ. Ndị niile na-emetụrụ anyị aka n'akara ịhụnanya, Joseph Raphael, daalụnụ. Paris Firm Noah, appreciate you for the gifts. All right. So ana m anabata unu. Kena, thank for the gift as well. Usekwu Foods, Miss Kinti, Makwachukwu, right? Makwachukwu, Iwoya Anambra. Paris Firm, gịnị bụ aha Igbo gị? I have been thinking you are not Igbo, but you've written Daalụ to me. Ndewo. Makwachukwu, yeah, okay. Daalụ, Chukwu gozie gị. Right. Unu niile na-esonye anyị na YouTube na TikTok nke mbụ. Ojoto, right? Ojoto nọ na Nnewi, right? Ojoto is a popular town, I think, in Nnewi. Ojoto, I might be right. Kibo onye be the governor. All right, ana m anabata unu. Oh, before, okay, all right. All right, ihe a bụ ebe anyị na-akụzi Igbo. All right. Only by heritage. Did you do your DNA, Paris Femme Noir? If you have, I congratulate you if you found out that you're Igbo. But if you've not, I encourage you to do. Most of our African American brothers and sisters who have a a special love for the Igbo, most of the times you find out that they really do belong to the community. And you would see, since you joined the class today, that we are open armed, welcoming you and everybody. Jojo Neptune. All right. By marriage. Thank you. Thank you. All right. Exactly. Most people dumped in Virginia were Igbo. Most people dumped in a place that is Haiti today, Dominica, and all of these places were Igbo, including Brazil. And most that crossed the Atlantic were Igbo, including those 75 young men and women who refused to continue. And they decided to do something historical. And we're glad for that today. Oh, after Oba. All right. Ndewo nnam. So ana m anabata unu ndị niile, Mark Peter and Mande Joe. This is a class created by OMENKA app. It's called Igbo Literacy Project. This is a project that we are honing in on to re-educate us, ourselves. For most of you that are living overseas, living outside of Igbo land, maybe you grew up there, and some of you that are married to Igbo, and you have a responsibility of reinculturating yourselves and the responsibility of reinculturating your children if you have had children. If you refuse to do that, nobody will do it. You will go down the history lane as a person under whose eyes the lineage of Igbo was cut off. Ọtụtụ n'ime unu nọ na mba dịka ụmụafọ Igbo, ọtụtụ n'ime ha nọ na mba. Ọrụ dịrị unu bụ ịchọpụta ụzọ ị ga-eji laghachi wee zụlite onwe gị n'ụzọ Igbo. Our ways are much better. Our cultural ways are much better. They are ingrained in the language we speak. If you do not have the deep connection with your linguistic heritage, we are creating that platform for you. That is what Igbo Literacy Project is about. That is why we are doing this class. That is why I'm speaking English in Igbo class. And when some people come and hear and they say, oh, speak Igbo, my friend, I try to friendly explain to them the reason I am teaching people, many of whom are not primarily people who understand Igbo. And I'm glad that a lot of you find this class. So that is why I am asking us to collectively do a work that will help us grow not only this class, but as well grow our community. All right. Ndewonu. Ana m anabata unu niile. Good. Usekwu food. I think your AI is kind of responding to communications. Check that out, please. Okay. So this is the third week we are looking at the Igbo Proverbs, how to understand the Igbo Proverbs. And we're looking at the importance of Proverbs in the first place. And because the proverb is one of the very huge factors in the linguistic and cultural way of life of the Igbo people. So if you are learning Igbo language without knowing the Proverbs, you are missing a huge part of the language. All right, anyị ga-aga n'ihu ilekwa anya ilu ndị ọzọ, and I'm going to take another 5. So ọ bụrụ na ị dere ilu mbụ nke m na-emetụbeghị aka, biko degharịa ya ugbu a, were akọnuche m gaa ebe ahụ. All right, let us go ahead and write other proverbs that we know. Ị maara ilu Igbo ọzọ nke na-emetụ gị n'obi, dee ya ugbu a. While I'm waiting for that, please, I encourage all of you joining us today and joining us for the first time. And please go to our bio and click on that Telegram link and join the Telegram group. It will give me the opportunity of attending to your personal needs in terms of learning Igbo. If you really have the desire to learn Igbo, you need a coach, you need a guide. Most of what I do is free, but if you want a customized class, go to our website and sign up. But please, if you are here for the first time, do not forget to download OMENKA app and start learning from the words section of it. Right? We are filling the gap on social media because there are so many people teaching Igbo for fun and so many people teaching Igbo for money. But unfortunately, they do not have the training. They don't even know when they make a mistake. So it's a very, very, very big problem. All right. Ka m nụ ilu ọzọ unu maara. Aha, kedu ilu ndị unu maara? Onye ọbụla ngwa depụtara m ilu ị maara. Anyị ahụla ise nke mbụ. Dorcas, how are you? Good to have you in the class. Yeah, everybody. Ire ọma ka ejula ji aga n'ogwu. Nwanyị ọma. Ire ọma ka ejula ji aga n'ogwu. Ejula. Anyị na-akpọkwa ya eju. Eju or ejula. Ire ọma ka ejula ji aga n'ogwu. Alright, ndewo Odoziakụ Chinwe. Aha, kedu ndị ọzọ maara ilu? Ị maara ilu Igbo? Mgbe oge erugo, let's write it. Ire ọma ka ejula ji aga n'ogwu. Mmadụ niile kwuo ya. Ire ọma ka ejula ji aga n'ogwu. Right, let's keep tapping. Let's keep tapping. Let us keep tapping on the screen, please. We are helping to improve the algorithm of the class. Anaghị ekpuchi afọ ime aka. Anaghị ekpuchi afọ ime aka. Aha. Achọrọ m ka anyị nweta ise anyị wee kọwaa ya. Nke a ga-enyere anyị aka dịka oge anyị na-aga kwarapụ 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 kwarapụ. Aha. Kedu ndị niile na-etu ọnụ ka ha si mara Igbo here na klaasị a? Eziokwu bụ ndụ. Okay. Eziokwu bụ ndụ. Kingsley. Eziokwu bụ ndụ. One of the shortest ones. Kọọrọ onye. Kọọrọ onye. Onye ọ dịrị ka ọ dịrị. Ezigbote ilu gbara ọkpụrụkpụ. Ezigbote ilu gbara ọkpụrụkpụ. Onye ọ dịrị. If you do not know these proverbs, I encourage you to write them down. So, ọ bụrụ na mmadụ tụọ ilu nke na-amaghị, it's important for you to write it down. Okay? Isi kote bụ ọgba ya. Isi kote bụ ọgba ya. Okay. Ọ dị ka anyị enwetala ise. Anyị ga-akwụsị ebe ahụ. Enwezie nke iji jidezie ya na obi gị. Okay, anyị nwetala mmiri dọrọ n'eju dọrọ nwa nkịta. Anyị nwee ohere anyị kọwachaa ise nke a, anyị wee metụ nke ahụ aka ya na ndị ọzọ nwere ike ịbịa. Mana ka anyị hụ ihe anyị na-ekwu ebe a n'ilu ndị a anyị depụtara. Let us look at these ones. that we're reading out. Nke mbụ, ire ọma ka ejula ji aga n'ogwu. This can be translated in English as onye gba ọsọ ọracha oroma. Mana ọ bụghị oroma ka ị dere ebe ahụ, Eze Chinonso. A sị na mama ilu ahụ agara m aghọta ihe ị dere. Ihe ị dere bụ ọnụma. Okay. This is this can be transliterated or translated as what's it called? The snail. The snail goes through thorns with kindness. It is with kindness. It is with what other word that I would use? You see, it is not easy to translate a proverb. So please do not hold me responsible, even if I did not transmit the message very easily. Yeah. Okay. Ego Igbo, Dalu o, Ndewo. Right. Ire ọma. Ire ọma has to do with a good behavior, okay? A kind behavior, soft way of doing things. Ire is tongue. You see that I'm not using tongue because imagine I told you that it is a good tongue that the snail used to go over the thorns. Okay, but that's really what it is. Ire is tongue, okay? With good tongue. Somebody has suggested that. Yeah, success. All right. The second one is anaghị ekpuchi ime aka is a very short and self-explanatory one. You are not able to cover pregnancy. That's just what that means. I mean, that's what the translation is, but the meaning is much more than that. Anaghị ekpuchi ime aka, you can't cover pregnancy, okay? Eziokwu bụ ndụ. This is one of the shortest ones. Truth is life, right? Truth is life. Kọrọ onye, onye ọ dịrị ka ọ dịrị. I so much love this one. Tell this person, tell another person, now who carry the weight? Now I know the weight of the weight. Now who the thing dey for your hand? Now he dey. Now who they suffer the pain? Now they suffer the pain. Another way, ndị Igbo na-asị, betesu ya, ọ na-ahụ nnama. Kọrọ onye. When you tell this person about your problem, when you tell the other person about your problem, it is still your problem. Arambi Anonymous, ndewo. Oh, yes. That's what that means. All right. Ahụgo m nke gị Maazị Nnamdi. Ka anyị lechaa nke a again. So, kọrọ onye. You say that, you see my problem. You say that, you see my problem. At the end of the day, you see your problem. It is still your problem. It is not any other person. He that wears the shoe knows where it pinches, right? Good. That is another way of making it understandable in English. Right. The last one, isi kotebo. I so much love this. Obaya. When your head knocks off the attacks the home of Ebu. What is Ebu in English? I don't know. Ebu is a kind of insect that stings. It stings as powerfully as the bees, but it's not the bees. I don't know the English name, but it's Ebu or Evu. That's what we call it in Igbo. When your head touches and attacks the home of Ebu, it will sting you. Sorry, Ozioma. Okay, somebody said, a guy's thoughts, not wasp. Abona, if your head touches the house of wasp and the guy comes back at you, now you go look for trouble. Right. Let us now know. Let us now try to understand the meanings of these proverbs. It's God's will. Dalo, you're welcome. All right. Ndewo. Now, iroma in the first one is good tongue. Okay. Now, what that means is the snail walks through thorns, walks through difficult times, walks through every possible thing that could hurt her. But because it has a way of doing it so meticulously, the snail does not get hurt. That's what the Igbo people see in the way the snail behaves, how the snail glides through different hazardous materials on the ground or in the bush where it is, does the snail crawl? Whatever it happens, the snail goes through all of this. The Igbo uses this proverb to say it is good to value goodness, to be wise, to be smart, to be proactive. You can navigate through any situation in life when you have goodness attached to the way you relate to your environment. Being proactive means knowing when to stop, when to run, when to go back. Ireoma, virtue, understanding your environment and applying the value that will meet the situation, and you'll be able to navigate through different situations, even when it is painful. I mean, we do not know if there's a time the snail gets stung or gets pierced by the thorns or whatever, but we know that a snail finds her way by navigating, gliding through difficult situations. Igbo people use this to value goodness, virtue, kind behavior towards people, kind words, and kind mannerism towards other people. You navigate through situations. All right. Ireoma, ire means tongue, like we have said. And it says good tongue. Ke julaja ganogu. Ogu means thorn. Thorns. When you can go through thorns, that means you have a virtue for that. It's just like you want to go and pluck rose. You know you're going to have to pass through the thorns. The other thing that this proverb suggests is that you do not fear. Igbo say na ya somebody a jog. Okay? You do not fear that there are thorns that you're going to meet when you want to pluck rose. You're going to have to go for it. That's what the proverb is talking about. Go for it, but apply a strategy. A good strategy, I think that might be the closest good word to qualify that. A good strategy can help you navigate through difficult situations. Okay? Right. Nke abụọ anaghị ekpuchi afọ ime aka. I said it is self-explanatory. Afọ ime is pregnancy, and that is the subject of this proverb. Pregnancy, you don't cover it. You don't make it invisible, because the pregnancy will start today. It will start growing. Boom, 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 boom. Today you are not pregnant, but tomorrow the world can see that you are pregnant. And what does that mean? Now, afime is a good thing to the Igbo people. Nobody tries to cover their pregnancy when that pregnancy is valued as a good thing. You happily, as a woman who is pregnant, want to show the world that you are pregnant, that God has blessed you. Okay? But afime can now become a bad thing when it happens when it's not supposed to happen, at the wrong time. That is when a person may want to uchiela yaka. It is now a time where a person may want to cover it. When it is happening, when it's not supposed to happen. One instance to this is possibly when a person is not really married. The Igbo people consider any pregnancy that happens before marriage as a pregnancy that is not supposed to happen. So in that case, the person that is pregnant may not be proud enough to show it. Exactly, success. Nothing is hidden forever. So when the pregnancy occurs, when it's not supposed to, a person might want to have the tendency to, oh, achonko wamana namdime, but unfortunately, the pregnancy will continue to protrude, and grow. You cannot cover it forever. When a thing that is not acceptable on the land happens, it finds its way to the surface. Anaghị ekpuchi afọ ime aka. Ọkụkọ nyụọ ahụ, ala chụọ ya ọsọ. When you do a thing that is not acceptable secretly, one way or the other, it finds its way to the surface. That's the idea that is packed up in this proverb. The value for truthfulness and the value for doing something that is acceptable even in the secret, because you can't hide it forever. That's what that means. All right. All of those that are joining us is Goswill, Kingsley. Oh, Kingsley, you've been here. And I can't read these names. Ada Dioramma unu niile ana m anabata unu. You're all welcome. This is Igbo Literacy Project. It's brought to you by OMENKA app. OMENKA is in the project of reinculturating the Igbo people, young and old. Ebe ọbụla unu nọ, ọrụ anyị bụ ịkpọghachite unu n'azụ, ịkpọghachite unu ịga ije n'ụzọ nke ndị nna nna anyị ha gara, ihe wee dere ha mma tupu ndị ọcha abịala obodo anyị n'iyi. Burunu n'uche na ndị ọcha lara obodo anyị n'iyi. Ha bịara mebie omenala anyị, mebie ụzọ anyị si ebi ndụ nke Chukwu nyere anyị. Rukwe taa, anyị ka na-agba mbọ ileghachite n'ụzọ ahụ nke onye nwe anyị nyere anyị dịka ndị Igbo anyị bụ. Otu n'ime ụzọ, otu n'ime ihe ga-enyere gị aka ịgaghachi ịmata ụzọ a ma gaghachi ma gaa njem n'ime ya bụ ịmata asụsụ gị, the tongue that God gave you as an Igbo person. As Igbo people, we have a God-given tongue. The less you speak Igbo language, the more you stay away from your ancestral heritage. Ọtụtụ n'ime unu ndị nọ na ala bekee na ndị nọ na mba, ndị bekee oyibo na-atọ ụtọ n'ọnụ karịa ndị nwe ya. Ọtụtụ n'ime unu anaghịzi asụ Igbo. Onye asụsụ Igbo, Igbo na-ara m ahụ, and I find it difficult to speak Igbo sometimes. Shame on you. Ya nwa mere anyị ji na-eme ihe anyị na-eme. The truth about it is that you cannot speak English better, even as good as the owners of the language. You were given a tongue when you were created Igbo. Whether ma amụrụ gị na mba, ma amụrụ gị n'ofesi, ebe ọbụla amụrụ gị, if you do not speak it, the less you speak Igbo, the more you are distancing yourself from your cultural connection. I do not blink when I say a thing like that, and I do not regret. I do not look at your face. All I'm telling you is the truth. If you have nothing to do in life, if in life, you know that one job God gave you is to continue the lineage, the ancestral way of life, which is embedded in the language that you speak. Eziokwu Bondo, which is the next proverb we are talking about. Igbo na-ekwu eziokwu, Igbo maara eziokwu, Igbo hụrụ eziokwu n'anya, Igbo values truth Truthfulness is a virtue. It was not written in the Bible for the Igbo people to know, to value it. It wasn't the Bible that taught us that. It wasn't Christianity. It was the way of life of the people, the value for truth. Igbo believes that if you speak the truth, you will also be free. It was not written anywhere other than what we say, how we say it in our ilu. Eziokwu bụ ndụ. Ikwu okwu ya bụrụ eziokwu, ị ga-adị. Gị ikwu okwu kwugide mmadụ ya bụrụ asị gbaa ahụ ama ụgha gbagide mmadụ ibe gị asụọrọ gị ọfọ. Ị ga-anwụ maọbụ ihe ọjọọ ga-eme gị. That is as much as we value the truth. Ya nwa mere ndị gboo na-eji aga n'ihu agbara. Iji ikwu eziokwu akpọga gị ebe ị ga-anọ kwuo ebe a ga-ahụpụta gị eziokwu ahụ n'ọnụ by force and by forces. Ịnọrọzi ebe ahụ ahụ na-eme gị kparịkparị ị marazie ma ị ga-ekwu eziokwu ma ị ga-achọkwa ịtụ asị gị marazi ihe a ji ntị ọkụkọ eme. Oh my God. All right, but let's be serious. If you are not speaking Igbo in your day-to-day life, you are destroying your cultural identity. If you have not made it a point of duty to speak Igbo in your daily conversation, you are destroying your cultural lineage. And you are leaving nothing for your generation to come. Do not hide under the fact that, I know how to speak English. I went to school. I didn't go to school for nothing. I live overseas. I can communicate in English. I can, all those now wash. Ị hụrụ sụpụrụ ahụ ị na-asụ ma ị gaghị asụ nwunye n'Igbo bịaghachi ụlọ akwụkwọ bịa mụọ ihe before gị ghọọ onye eriri eri. And ofe ụlọ akwụkwọ ị ga-aga, this is one place and we are creating this platform for you to be able to get reinculturated, reconnected with your cultural identity, your linguistic identity. Edith Enwelondewo, thanks for joining us. That's why we're doing what we're doing here. So when we come here, we do not care whose horse is God. We don't care who you, we just have to tell you the truth. Ezioku Bondo, so that we ourselves will live a good life. Because if we are called to, at the moment, at this time in our lives, to be the voice, to bring back our people to the cultural way God made us Igbo, we gotta have to do that. And so do not feel left out. Join our Telegram group. Go to our bio, tap on the link, join that Telegram group, download OMENKA app, and then be involved in a very religious way in helping yourself to get enculturated. You are doing it for yourself before anybody else. Okay? All right. Sorry, I had to say that, had to spill that out. Right, I have explained the Ezioku Bondo. Truth is life. Is a simple word. Mr. Vic, thank you. Chukwu gozie gị maka okoko osisi ahụ nke inyere anyị. Ya dere gị na mma. Oh, ndewo. Please go to our bio, download, click on the link and join our Telegram group. It's important for a continued relationship and conversation so that I can also reach out to your personal needs, just like we have in mind doing. I have talked about this as, one that I like so much. The Igbo people believe that life is full of troubles and trials, problems. When we have problems, we have the tendency of telling family, telling friends, telling people. Now, there's limit to everything. As much as you have the tendency of telling people, you're going to tell people, right? This proverb does not really say do not share your challenges with people. No. But then the proverb is telling you whether you tell it to one person or you tell it to 1,000 persons, it is still going to be your problem. Another proverb that touches or explains this proverb is the one that says, mmiri dọrọ na ọkụ maọbụ n'ite dọrọ nwa nkịta. Mmiri dọrọ n'ite dọrọ nwa nkịta. Mmiri dọrọ na ọkụ. Some of you that know what ọkụ means, the olden traditional earthenware that our ancestors used in eating, not these breakable ceramics and glass bowls and plates that, Western life brought to us. The olden earthenware that were well garnished and, molded very well and designed to be attractive when you are eating. And it connects you closer to your ancestors. The more you eat with it, yanwa kaina bo oko mobu ite sometimes. Mmiri dọrọ n'ọkụ dọrọ nwa nkịta, because the dog laps water from, things that contain water found around the environment. Okay? Such water is not meant for humans, but meant for the dog. All right? All right. Kena, I know I can understand what you are saying, even though your Igbo is very terrible in reading. That is why we are in this class. I believe what you're saying in ewegote ndị mmadụ ka ha tinye ọnụ na ntakịrị oge. Yes, next class is going to be, I'm doing that. I use one class in a month, and I may do 2 class. N'ọnwa wee mkparịta ụka ya bụ na izu na-abịa abịa, Monday na-abịa abịa, anyị ga-enwe mkparịta ụka ebe a. Yeah, mmiri dọrọ n'eju. So some people also say eju n'ihi na eju, mkpokoro eju na-enwe mmiri as well. Okay, ọ bụ na mkpokoro eju ewepụ eju nọ n'ime ya, mmiri zoo, mmiri gbanye ya n'ime. Some people also use that to complete the proverb. Mmiri dọrọ n'eju dọrọ nwa nkịta as well. Yeah, so to answer your question, Kena, next week we're going to have a conversation. The last conversation we had, you people did not impress me so much. This is an opportunity for people to communicate well in the class. But a few people were talking. I hope it doesn't, follow that suit in the next conversation that we're going to have. I encourage you all to speak up. Ihe m na ebe a bụ inyere anyị aka n'ụzọ nwere ike to help you in your journey, in your own personal journey towards learning Igbo and getting reinculturated. I expect that in every conversational class we have, I'm going to have people, struggling to come in to talk. But I was surprised, especially last month, that a lot of people were keeping quiet while we created that opportunity. So please, let's be prepared for the next week's class, okay? All right. Thank you, Kenna. Thanks for the roses as well. Ihe we odo chi ya na eburu ya na churo ya ijiji. Right. We're going to look at that also much later. Okay. So I was saying that Igbo now says that even though that you tell people your stories, always okwu na ị ga-akọrọ mmadụ ma ihe mee gị. After all, Igbo kwenyere na ime nwanne ma ọ bụ ọkọkọ mmadụ ya gbakwuru mmadụ ibe ya. But at the end of the day, it's still going to be your problem. So what that means is that the earlier you realize that problem, you and only you will be the one to solve it, or at least to look for solution for it, the better for you. You are telling people, they might give you advice, they might encourage you, which is a good thing. Ọ dị ka onye mmadụ ya nwụrụ, for instance, nwaanyị di ya nwụrụ ma ọ bụ nwoke nwunye ya nwụrụ, ndị mmadụ agbakọ bịa nọnyere gị. ụfọdụ mgbe ma ọ bụ ọtụtụ mgbe ha na-agbakọ n'oge ehihie, right? Chiji onye ọbụla eji nwayọọ n'ala, ngwanụ ka ọ dị o, ngwa diweni ya o, ka ọ dị biko kasiekwa obi, ebezila akwa, ebekwala na akwa ebe o hiri nne o, onye ọbụla wee na-ala n'ole. Oru na mgbede, ọ bụrụ na enweghị onye bịara nọnyere gị maọbụ ndị bịara nọnyere gị dịka esi eme ya, iwe hụ na ọ naanị gị na akwa ahụ ị ga-edina, ọ naanị gị, karịchasị ọ bụ nwaanyị di ya nwụrụ, ọ na-eshi ike, ọ na-enye nsogbu, but that community support is there, okay? But at the end of the day, it is your problem. The earlier you begin to seek solution to that problem, to that challenge of life, the better for you. Kọrọ onye, onye ọ dịrị ka ọ dịrị. That's what Igbo says. All right. And the last one here, isikotebu or baya. It simply means whatever you bring to your life, you are the one to bear the consequences. Action and reaction, as they say, are equal and opposite. Whatever you sow, you shall reap. Whatever you cause, you will be the bearer of the consequence. Isikotebu or baya. When your head touches the home of wasp, the wasp will sting, mostly the head, because the wasp and the bees, they often sting around the head. Wada mahabara genanya nanti n'imi n'ọnụ, ha niile na-awụkarị n'isi ka ha na-agba. For whatever reason, those animals, they know where life exists in human, where life, the impact is going to be more. When they sting you on the eye, in the next few minutes, your eye will swell up and your eye might even, the flesh will cover the eyes. When they sting you in the mouth, your lips will bulge and go to this way. When you want to speak, it will be like Nigerian motor that is driving this way and the face is this way. When they sting you on the ear, your ear will become a lobe and will stretch. And all of these areas that the wasp or the bee can sting you, they have greater impact than when they sting you on the body. Kenna, thank you. God bless you. Aṅụ maọbụ ebu agaghị ahapụ isi gagba ụkwụ, ọ gara ahụ. You know why? They know that the impact will not be more. It will not be much on your leg, on your hand, okay? You will survive it easily. But when they sting on the head, they know that the impact is something that will really keep you awake in the night if nothing is done about it. So, it is the head that touches the ebu. Why is it the head? This is the concept. This is the concept whereby we know that the wasp, if that is the correct name of that insect that builds its house, in the roof of another house, we call it, there's something else we'll call it. I can't remember that name in Igbo. So if you are coming in the traditional buildings, which used to be thatched houses that are low, sometimes you have to bend to enter the house. If you are not careful to see that that insect built something on the roof or in the roof of that particular house, your head can touch it when you did not bend down well. And when your head touches it, the insect will bite you immediately without wasting time because they feel threatened. So they need to attack you back. So it is your head that will touch it, it's not your leg. It is not your hand most of the times. It is the head. And it is the head that the insect will attack immediately. Isi kotebu, obaya. The consequence of what you did now, you will be the one to bear it. Igbo is using this to tell you the value of virtue, the value of good life, the value of uprightness, the value of being a person that your community should be proud of. Ana m ekele unu niile. Eji m aka na anyị abịala na njedebe nke ihe ọmụmụ nke ụbọchị taa, nke anyị na-eme kwa izu niile, nke anyị na-ewe awa abụọ iji mee. Amaara m na anyị bidoro n'azụ oge, mana anyị arukwela gafekwa n'oge, nke bụ na anyị na ha akụrụ ọnụ n'awa abụọ nke ihe ọmụmụ nke ụbọchị taa. Ndị niile soro anyị mụọ ihe nke taa, nke taa bụ nke mbụ ha, ndewonu. Soronụ anyị na-abata ihe ọmụmụ a, nkuzi a, izu niile. Mọnde, elekere anyị 6 nke oge Nigeria, maọbụ elekere anyị 11 nke elekere mbụ nke ọwụwa anyanwụ oge America, 1 p.m. 1 p.m. I think my microphone is off. I did not charge my microphone. Can you hear me now? Yeah, I'm glad. Yeah, we have come to the end of today's class. So I was saying in Igbo, those that joined us, thank you, Kenna. Those that joined us in today's class, and this is your first time, you are welcome. And you're also fortunate you found us. Next week, I'm going to have multiple guests. We're going to have conversation. I'm most probably going to sit down and hear you out. And I'm going to take your questions. I'm also going to want to hear your journey towards learning Igbo, your journey towards getting reinculturated to your cultural and linguistic identity. That will be your opportunity. I would love to hear stories. And we are going to look at my journey with Igbo language based on the Proverbs. Okay? Yagazikwarage Kenya. So thank you, Useku Foods. God bless you. So I would encourage us to please, one, come early and be prepared to share your personal journey. And please, while we are doing that, if you do not have OMENKA app on your phone, go ahead and download it. It's on Play Store and Apple Store. Also go to our bio and join our Telegram group. And we're going to really start full conversation there very, very, very soon. I don't know what else I want to share with you. Support us whatever way you can. We are really doing something on the ground to recreate the opportunity. Thank you so much, Eze Chinonso. We are doing something on the ground by creating OMENKA Igbo group in so many different schools, because we need support in that area. 2 schools in Oka have started OMENKA Igbo Club. They need resources to continue to create one day for learning Igbo language
and whichever way you can support us in making those children continue in that project, and the teachers that are teaching them, please, you do. For your information, many of our schools, the schools where we grew up from in our villages, no longer teach Igbo. Anaghịzi akụzi Igbo n'ọtụtụ ụlọ akwụkwọ nọ n'ala Igbo. Ụzọ a ka Igbo si anwụ. Asụsụ ọbụla nwere nsogbu Igbo nwere ga-anwụ anwụ, whether mụ na ọ chọrọ ya ma ọ na-achọ ya. Ya wụ na anyị nwa ji aka anyị na-egbu asụsụ anyị. Anyị nwa ji aka anyị na-eme ihe na-emetara anyị, ihe na-ebutere anyị ihe ọjọọ n'ebe asụsụ anyị nọ. Ọ bụ na ị nwere ụzọ ị ga-esi akwado anyị n'ime ka ebido ịkụzi Igbo n'ụlọ akwụkwọ anyị ndị nọ na obodo ebe anyị si pụta, ka anyị mee ya nọ. Gọọmenti etiti ya ga-emere anyị ya. Ndị Naijiria agaghị emere anyị ya. Ha chọrọ ka anyị nwụọ. Naijiria chọrọ ka asụsụ Igbo nwụọ, ka eji chịa ya ọchị. Otu n'ime ihe na-ejikọta ndị Naijiria niile ọnụ bụ ọwụrụ ha ala ka ha kpọọ Igbo asị. Onye Yoruba abịa, onye Hausa abịa, onye Fulani abịa, ha niile abịa. Ọwụrụ ha ala na ihe jikọtara ha ọnụ na gburugburu ahụ ha nọ bụ na akpọrọ Igbo asị. Ịhụ ha ala ndị niile kpọrọ Igbo asị, mmadụ abụọ na atọ zukọ ha ala, okwu ha ga-adaba, rugoro na ha bụ ndị iro. Ya wụrụ na ihe a na-akpa bụ ihe gbasara Igbo, tupu ị mara ya, mana soshal midia ebe niile ga-ihe okwu ha wee na-ada ala elu. N'ihi gịnị? They have one interest. Chinua Achebe kwuru ya, my dear. That's the strongest thing. Thank you, Seku Foods. That's a very strong thing. Ya wụhala na ihe a na-akpa bụ Igbo. Igbo mere nke a, Igbo mere nke ọzọ. You see them, they become in bed with one another. They fall in love with one another. Now, ọ bụrụ na anyị tụgharịzikwa nyere ha aka site n'igbu asụsụ anyị, anyị tụgharịzikwa nyere ha aka site n'ịbụ ndị ọbịa nye asụsụ na omenala anyị, na we dey kill ourselves more. Ọtụtụ n'ime anyị bụ ndị na-esugharị ụmụnne anyị imi, dịka ndị ka na-ahụ na politics, ndị nke na-ezuzu ezuzu. Ha garịcha, ha ezuzuru, ha lọghachitazi enwezi ebe ha ụsụ, akwụ ha na anụ elu, akwụ ha na anụ ala. Because let us, not follow that trend of very terrible behavior towards our language and our culture. So on that note, I want to thank everybody that participated in today's class on YouTube and on TikTok. Please follow our channels. Follow our channel on YouTube. Follow our channel on Instagram, on TikTok. We are on all of this, even on Facebook too. Support the Igbo Literacy Project. That's our plea. Ndewo unu niile. Daalụ Chinonso and Kena. God bless you all for your contributions. I appreciate you.